Hey everyone, today I'm going to be going over my paycheck budget. The second paycheck of the month of August is blowing my mind that it is already August and we are encroaching on September. Soon it will be September, a whole new month, and the year is just flying by. I swear, having quarantine in the middle of the year and having those months where we did nothing and went nowhere, it's just really thrown me off on the dates and times and what is happening in the world. But despite that, money carries on and we are getting paid, so we need to make sure that that money has a place to go and a job to do. Okay, so let's get into the numbers and I'll show you what we're doing for the rest of August into the beginning of September. Hello everyone, this is my paycheck budget for August 20th through September 4th. So for this paycheck budget, I don't have any really strong goals. I just want to see how we adjust to a higher amount of daycare income. We are paying regular tuition now, so that's a big change. It does cost a little bit more. Okay, so for the pay yourself first category, we try to, our goal ultimately is to have this be like 20 to 30% of our income, but currently is closer to 10%. So that includes the Roth IRA that I am trying to max out this year, and that is $200. And then we are also adding slowly a little bit here and there to our emergency fund, so $25 for that. And then I have an M1 finance account where I buy fractional shares. It's very similar to Robinhood, and I kind of go back and forth on which one I'm using. I just play around with those, so it's not a lot of money, but it's $25 to that. So that is a longer term portfolio that will probably eventually sell for a certain purchase, but that's pretty far down the road. So that's kind of what that's for. And that's $250. All right, and that leaves us with $2,579 to go. So our fixed expenses, like I mentioned, are the thing that is changing a little bit because we have a higher tuition payment, but I also have dropped my gym membership. That's $150. So that should balance out, but I do want to add back a cheaper membership. So we're just going to try to wait a couple months and see how things go. So our mortgage, we pay that bi-weekly so that it makes a full extra payment per year. It's a really, talking about it, but it's $650, not $1,300. I was writing down the full amount. We pay $1,300 a month, but we pay $650 every single paycheck period. And this is why I don't talk when I do these, because I make mistakes like that because I'm thinking about how we pay $1,300 a month, but we pay $650 in a paycheck period. Okay, and so now we have our next biggest expense, which is going to be tuition for the preschool my daughter is at. And that's going to be $395 every 2 weeks for the rest of the semester. And that is obviously much more than we were paying, but it is still one of the cheapest ones in our area. We looked at every option and it's sadly one of the cheapest. So we have some medical bills to do, not bills, but we have some medical expenses, and that's going to be $150. Then we have therapy for me and my little self is $130, and that is something that I do every other week. So that is a critical part of our budget. And let's see, internet bill is due, of course, and that is $70. And then our security system monitoring is $25. And I think I might be adding some subscriptions soon just for our own benefit, but we haven't added those yet. So that's all of the fixed expenses that we have, and I'll talk about those in future budgets and why I'm doing them. But for now, let's add all of that up. So adding all of that up is $1,420. So when we subtract that, we're left with $1,159, which is right on track. So we do have a couple sinking funds that I need to save for. Last time I did not save for car insurance, even though we normally save for car insurance in our first paycheck budget. It did not happen because I had to move that money to pay for something else. So $75 from this paycheck will go into that account to pay that bill every 6 months. Then we have started saving for Christmas. The best time of year, $25. We are also going to be using some free gift cards and points and stuff like that. So that's the goal for Christmas. And then travel is getting a little bit of money since we used some of that money. I'm going to put $75 back in so we can take more trips in the future. So all of that added up is $175. Okay, and that leaves us with $984. So we have $984 for our variable expenses, which are things we can adjust and change throughout the month. And I am including now utilities over here because it is so different every single month now, with some of the changes that the local company has put into place. And the bill's a lot higher because they raised rates and they added like a couple different $20 fees, basically. I don't know. It's a whole thing. People were freaking out last month, but $300 is what I budgeted, and I'll put the actual there when it comes due. And then grocery, let's see, we budget $125 a week, so $250 for the last 2 weeks, and that's food and like household stuff. And then I do have a giving line in here for $125, which is less than I really would like, but that's kind of what I figured up for these numbers. And let's see, gas, we are going to spend $75. That's pretty much really accurate since we're only driving one car right now. My husband's still working from home. And then my husband is getting $100 in personal money. I'm getting $50 in personal money. Whoop, whoop. And then we have a miscellaneous category that's worked out really well for us. That's $50. And that's just little stuff that will sometimes come up. And then that leaves us with $34. So that is going to be our buffer in our checking account. And that buffer or cushion, people call it different things. It's just there in case we mess up or in case something happens where like our utility bill, instead of being $200 is $400 and we're going to use that amount of money, and then we'll just build it up back over months. Or if we're out and we don't have our card that we would use or cash or whatever, just things like that. So it's nice to have a little bit of a cushion. We usually try to stay around like $250. And so we'll build up and then it will get used, and then we'll build back up and it'll get used, or actually 250 to 500 is where we usually end up. So it's a little bit of enough a cushion that it would cover like pretty much any of these bills, to be honest, at least one big bill or like any of the little things. So that is $984, which leaves us with $0. And this should be pretty comfortable. We don't have anything fun planned. We probably won't do much fun stuff. And we do have money for our personal needs if we need it. And then the bill for tuition is more, but we've also cut back on so many fixed expenses and bills. I think we'll be fine. And it is what it is because we have to work and she has to go to school. All right, guys, that's it for the month of August. I have a plan for our paycheck budget, and I am, to be honest, a little bit upset at the increase in tuition that we're paying for school now. I am going a lot back and forth on this about how I feel about paying for private school, if we want to continue to do that in the future. Honestly, the majority of our neighborhood sends their kids to private schools or to schools outside of the district that we're zoned for. So I know a lot of people that live near me pay for this on every single month, but I don't see it being sustainable in our budget long term. So that's really going to mean a lot of big changes down the road for our budget. I just don't know what those mean exactly, and we'll see. So this is the first month that we're paying tuition, and it is a big change, and it's a lot more money than I really thought about or expected, so we'll see how it goes, guys. It is definitely making me long for the days of cheaper daycare where we were paying much less per month, because even then I felt like that was a lot, but now I'm realizing that was nothing, and ultimately schooling for children is very expensive, and the fact that we could even get into a place was really just a whole hassle in itself, so I've got to be grateful for that. If you have kids and you pay for private school, or if you've had to deal with that, do I pay for school, or do I move to a new neighborhood, or do I buy a bigger house type situation? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. So let me know what you decided for your family. I know personally a lot of my friends send their kids to private school, but it's not necessarily something I value, as I went to a public school, and to I still had a pretty good experience, and people from my school went to really good schools. So I don't necessarily think public school is a bad thing, but I do find that we are now starting to think about these things, and it's weird to have to think about paying for schooling versus using public schools with the taxes that we pay. And I don't know, it's just a whole new world for me, and this paycheck budget has really brought that to the forefront when it was something that was far in the distance to think about, and now it's starting to kind of come up. So those are my main thoughts for this paycheck budget. Thank you guys for watching, and I really appreciate all of your support.